Pay it forward. This one huge to me. This is one of the reasons I wanted to do the live. I wanted to do it because I appreciate the shit out of you guys, and I wanted to give you something that it may just be a spark of interest down this path, but it's changed many people's lives, and I know about myself included. And I believe very much that you get back what you give, okay? So some ways you can do that is to help more people, volunteer, donate, give advice, recommend stuff. Basically, the more you receive, the more you can give. This is going to come back to that money block that we're going to talk about in a minute, but just keep that in mind. When you put out abundance, I feel like that really changes everything, because when you come from a place of abundance, you already know that you're going to be fine. And you lead your life as such, making decisions knowing that. So it's not hard to help other people because I already know that I'm taken care of. No negative energy. This is a huge one. If you have people who are bugging you or pissing you off or you're on a post, just fucking get over it. You guys, this group drives me crazy when I see people fucking fighting back and forth. Just stop. You're not going to change a dude's mind. They're not going to change your mind. There are some times where I do believe information is great, but let's not beat dead horses. I just scroll past. If it's obviously it's my group, I have to mod it. But when I see something on my timeline, if it's not like I'm not vibing with it, I feel like it's negative, I just ignore it. If there's people who are really negative all the time, they're putting out negative energy, I suck it in. I hate that shit. I don't like it. So I block them. Use your block people. Like just be blocking bitches. I'd be like, hiya, block. Please, 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 with the negative energy stuff. Or others. Toxic relationships don't. Negative thoughts that you have don't. Lots of things don't. Positive affirmations are going to be huge. And again, this is going to be in that guide that I did. So basically, you're trying to reprogram that subconscious brain. That's all you're doing. But when you're visualizing, if you were here for the very beginning, when you're visualizing, you are essentially trying to talk to that subconscious part, you know, that part that makes 95% of your decisions. You're just programming it like a computer. Hey, brain, I like this stuff. Hey, brain, I like this stuff. Hey, brain, I like this stuff. If you start telling it what to look for and what to give you, it will give it to you. It will find the opportunities. It will start opening you up to things you didn't even think about. There's so many times I look back and I'm like, holy shit, how did that even conspire? Like, how did that even work? Let's come back again to the money blocks. And this is that negative energy. I don't understand where money blocks come from. And I think there's a lot of people who really talk about this in greater depth than I'm wanting to on this live. But the best way to look at it is, for some reason, people attach money, like, I don't know, being bad or being greedy. And that's not the case. There's plenty of fucking rich people who are assholes, sure. But there's plenty of people who have money who actually are abundant in what they have and they give back. That's why so many rich people do charities. Yeah, it's a tax donation, don't get me wrong. But it's also important to give back, and that's why they do it. If you don't believe that you're worthy of something, if you don't think like, oh, I can never make $350,000 a year, well, you're absolutely right. Just like if you would have said, I know I can make $350,000 a year, I'd tell you, you're absolutely right. Your brain, you're going to do whatever you think you can do. If you don't think that you're worth it, you think the universe is going to give you that opportunity, it won't, because you won't be able to recognize it. You won't know what the fuck it is. It'll just fly right back, and it'll be like, all I have is bad luck. It's because you can't recognize the signs, because you're thinking negatively instead of thinking positively. For instance, my back. When I threw my back out, I spent a good probably 4 years feeling really bad for myself. I mean really bad. To the point where I was drinking so much alcohol that I actually got worried about my liver. And that was really the only way I could cope with the pain and with the fact that my life as a human who I was had changed completely. I went from somebody who was really active and excited and happy to being somebody who was in constant pain that I couldn't get away from. And I tried to get away from it so many times. And I read books about gratitude, and I'm like, I just can't be grateful for feeling like shit all the time. And it took me years to figure out that the reason I think that I have the pain, and maybe it's coincidental, and maybe it's just me trying to, like, you know, explain it or justify it, but my compassion level is so very different. I didn't have a huge compassion level for people. I kind of thought everybody should just tighten their bootstraps. I know I come from kind of a more conservative family, and you know, like religiously, and everybody's like hard work and this and that, and you don't need help and you do it yourself. And like, yes, that's great, and I love having a good work ethic, but that's not really the case. A lot of times, everything I've ever done, I've had help with. Whether it was direct or indirectly. So I will talk about, I saw somebody ask what a money block is. I'm going to get there, don't worry. I'm just kind of going through the little things, and then it'll make more sense when I talk about money blocks. So you need to be open and you need to take notes. So when you get done here, go research, start looking at synchronicities and different meanings of things. And it's amazing how like these things will start lining up in your life, and it's the most bizarre shit in the whole entire world. Like for instance, and this is like a little thing, there is a set of cabinets, and we're redoing the garage, and I wanted like these retro cabinets. I have them in my brain. I'm like, I want these retro cabinets. They're gonna have like, I'm gonna put little fucking like orange and green flowers in the drawers, and they're gonna be like these old school cabinets. And I came across a Craigslist, or not Craigslist, Facebook ad, and they were what I wanted. And I was like, hey dude, can I have these? As like, I'm sorry, they're already sold. And I'm like, okay, you know, no big deal. So it goes by like a week, and my mother calls, and she's like, well, are we taking the car? Because we were going to move the car to their house so that we have room to do the garage. And she's like, what's going on? Because I know you have a deadline and you got to get that done. You're going to have to go buy cabinets somewhere else. And I'm like, no, I already have the cabinets I want in my head. They'll be here. I'm not worried about it. So I have a client coming in to do the pinup shoot in the garage. And she's basically funding the renovation, which is a great way to get new stuff done, guys. But she's basically funding the renovation. That is actually a killer deal model call scenario. But if you guys don't use that shit to get things, it's ridiculous. I never spend money on renovations. I always book them out and then renovate and then pay for it and then make money off it. It's great. I told her, I'm like, look, it'll be fine. So then the same week, my client gets hold of me and she's like, hey, you know, I was thinking about it. Is there any way, I know you're booked, is there any way you can move my appointment to June? It's my birthday month. And mine usually scheduled in April. And it's cutting a little close for us getting renos done. And she really wanted to shoot outside. And I'm like, yeah, girl, you paid me lots of money. I'll do whatever you want. So I rescheduled, and I told my dad, I was like, hey, now we have an extra 2 months. It's great because I don't feel like I'm like, ugh. And it was literally like 2 or 3 days later, the guy who with the cabinets messaged me. He said, hey, that shit fell through. You still want these? Guess what I picked up today? So it's just stuff like that. You can't look at everything like it's a bad thing. You don't know. Sometimes I think that the reasons we get denied things is because they're bad and we don't need them. And when we fight that, we get fucked. For example, money block for me, I grew up poor, and we were taught that expensive things would never be reachable, and always had the mindset of I can't afford it. It took me a long time to break that down. So see, and I feel you very hard on that. Andrea, I can tell you I didn't grow up poor, but I did grow up lower, I guess probably lower middle class. We still had like, you know, clothes and roof over our head, but my parents were penny pinchers. And, you know, I don't think I ever had new clothes until I bought them myself. And I had to get a job. I got a job when I was 15 just to pay for my own stuff because they wanted me to have a good work ethic. And when I first went into photography, it's like the Dunning-Kruger effect that I talked about earlier, where when you first start, you think you're great. And then when you figure it out, you're like, I'm stupid. It's bad. It's the same thing for money. So I remember the first time I got like $250 for like 5 pictures, and I thought I was highway robbing these people, and I actually felt fucking bad about it. Even though it took me, I used to do really heavily composited images like pinup drawings, and sometimes it would take me up to 24 hours on one picture. So you're talking a lot of work for $250, and I still thought I was robbing them. And that was because I didn't understand what costs were involved. I didn't understand what costs for education, how much work really went into it, because I had no fucking idea. How do you know what you don't know? You don't. Looking back, I'm like, shit, I was working for free. And then I started to understand that the more money that I make, the more that I can give back. So for instance, when I sold my brand ambassador and model call guys, I made a decent amount for that month. I really did. It really helped out. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to take a little bit of a break from other things to go ahead and still come in here and moderate and give content and give back to you guys. I'm not just taking money and running. I'm using it to make sure that I can give back to people, because that makes me happy, all right? You can't help people if you don't have money. I mean, you can help them in different ways, but you understand what I'm saying. If you are somebody who's like, oh, I feel bad for taking people's money, why would you feel bad? They're paying you for a skill that you have. What I think a lot of times what happens, and I made this same mistake too, is that when I started, I actually did have a decent portfolio under my belt. I shot for about a year, and I did photography before I opened a business. So I did have decent skills in photography. Now I would say as far as pinup and boudoir, it was still pretty mediocre. Okay, I mean, I was not terrible, but it took me years to dig myself out of that fucking cheap ass hole, because I was taking advice from people who weren't doing what I wanted to do, right? Because back then we didn't really have that kind of stuff. YouTube wasn't even a thing when I started. YouTube didn't exist when I started, okay? So you don't know what you don't know when you're starting a business. It's the same thing as you don't know what you don't know when you're trying to manifest, okay? In these money blocks, you have to figure out what the holdup is. And I think a lot of it is people don't feel like they have the amount of skill to charge. And what they do is, instead of building up the skill to be like, say you want to make $2,500 a session. What is a person who makes $2,500 a session doing? They're not shooting and burning. They're not doing phone consults. They have a website, they're running groups, they're marketing, they're doing all that stuff. You're not going to be able to get at that level when you start out. It's just not going to happen. My advice when you're first starting would be to build a solid portfolio and get some skills. This is like the only fucking industry I can think of where people will come in with absolutely zero understanding and want to start a business. I'm like, you know how hard it is to figure out photography and you just want to go right into a business of photography? It's ridiculous. You can't. You can understudy some people, and there's so much good stuff now, but you have to fucking actually put the work in, right? So I think what happens is a lot of people will look at it like, well, I'm coming in here and I have a little skill, so I'll just charge a little bit. Well, can you imagine if I went to a surgeon who was like, okay, look, I've never done surgery. I don't even really know how surgery works, but I have a little skill and I have like a scalpel, so we should be good. No, that's not how it works. You can't do that. So with photography, people, again, they want to get the reward before they put any work in. You can't do that. You need to put the work in and know that you're going to have the reward. My first year full time, I did so many fucking model calls, and really I hadn't perfected the system back then. So I set myself up to get fucked, and I did get. Because there were so many things I didn't know because I didn't know. And I'll tell you, like, I'm not going to go off on a tangent in model calls, but I almost feel like blocking anybody who asks about brand ambassadors in here and model calls, because the same fucking bad advice keeps being given. And then people are like, oh, well, they don't work. I'm like, no, they work great. I built a huge business on model calls and brand ambassadors. And in fact, without those, I probably would be fucked. Is it that they don't work, or are you listening to a person who has no idea what they're doing? So imagine this, my first model call, and this is where money blocks. Let's talk about this. My first model call, I did 10 ladies, and I was already charging a decent amount, in the almost 1,000, probably 1,000, 1,200 session or something. And I did them. I gave them a bit of a discount because I was rebranding and everything. And I got done with those 10 people, and I think I made about, I don't know, it was probably like maybe a $500, $600 average per person. And I was elated because that's like $5,000 or $6,000. Holy shit. Except for that I looked around, and when I start realizing that it costs $10,000 to run my studio a fucking month, I realized that ain't shit. And now that I've done model calls, if I do 10 people and I don't make 35 or 40 grand in that month for those 10 people, can you imagine thinking that $5,000 a month is a lot, and then you start figuring stuff out, and down the road you look back and you're like, how many fucking things did I just give away for no reason? No reason at all. And it's fucking awful. And there's nothing wrong. Like, let people tell you not to work for free. You should absolutely 100% work for free. If you've never shot, you need practice. It's rude. Don't shoot people without fucking practice, okay? I'm not saying that you need to spend 2 years in a hiatus, fucking studying titties or anything, but with the education out there, invest in some education, knowing that when you put that education into effect, that you're going to get the reward that you want. Why would you fucking not? I wish, everybody always says, what's one thing you would do different? I wish that I could go back in time and have a person that knew what the fuck they were doing to help me, to tell me what to do. And I don't mean exactly, because I think there is something to be said about learning things, but there's some massive things I could have avoided that would have made it a lot easier for me as a human being moving forward, and would have catapulted me. It took me 10 years to get to any kind of a sustainable level. That was not because of my skill. It was because I literally didn't do anything that a photographer who makes money did, okay? I didn't put the work in. I didn't fucking do education. I just tried to do everything on my own, and it was great. And I like I said, I put the work in and I did it, but I put it into things that didn't make sense because I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know where to focus at. I just fucking threw everything at the wall. If you are super serious about this, then you need to be like, okay, look, I can invest, $5,000 into some education. Fuck, $5,000, you could get pretty much everything you would ever need to run your damn business and run it properly. But people won't do it. They're like, well, I have to make money first. Do you think people who become doctors make money first before they fucking go to college? No, they fucking hustle tables at night and they work their ass off. What kind of an education? So I don't mean photography is great because you can fast track nowadays. There's so many people out there like me who have done and made all the mistakes already that will sell you what to not do. Like, here's a perfect fucking thing. We did all the stupid shit already. There you go. That's the kind of education I'm talking about. I don't mean necessarily school. It's definitely something you can do. I didn't go to a classically trained school, but where so much things are so specific nowadays. Like, I can literally buy a guide on how to pose a person that is in boudoir. I can buy a guide on how to price. You have to make some investments. Like, I know it sucks, but when you're sitting back making, 50, 60,000 a month, you're not going to fucking care. If I see something I want now, I just buy it. I don't give a fuck. I know that I'm going to get my money's worth out of it. I know that I'm going to make hand over fist return on investments on that shit. So instead of Pete getting pissed off at people who are like, hey, go to this group. Hey, buy this guide. That's because we've all done it already. Why would, you know what? Yes, here, start at the very bottom again and then just work all your way up for the next couple of years and let us know how it goes, because we know what's going to happen. You don't know what you don't know. That's why it's important to have somebody who can tell you stuff. I saw somebody comment the other day. Somebody asked, should I have a hair and makeup contract between me and my hair and makeup artist? Yeah, you should, because what happens if they do something like what if they're fucking horrible with their hygiene and they don't clean their brushes and you have a staph outbreak in your studio? You think your insurance is going to cover that? Because most states it ain't gonna. And somebody answered on there, they go, well, that's what the insurance is for. No, that's what expectations are for. That's what a contract is. So I told him, I was like, look, if something happens to that client, you're liable. You're liable. My insurance company requires me to give them a copy of my hair and makeup artist insurance papers so that they're always on file, they're new and everything. That way, if anything happens, that's between those two. That's not my responsibility. Okay, it's my responsibility to hire a nice person, but I don't know anything about disinfecting brushes and shit. They don't know what they don't know, but one day when they have a fucking client that gets an eye infection, they're gonna figure it out. And that's what I mean. It's just shit like that. I see it all the time, and I'm like, oh my God, you guys, stop. There's knowledge, and then there's wisdom. Knowledge is something you can learn in a book. Wisdom is something you learn through trial and error. You can put the two together so it's a little easier, okay? I have people message me all the time, hey, how did you light this? It's like, that tells me you don't know lighting, because for me to explain to you what I did to light that, it's a lot. It's not like it's something I'm gonna be like, oh, it's a light here and a light there. Good luck. Like, no, like there's so many little nuances and things that go into this whole like arc of this picture. And it's like, I can't do it. Or Elena, why is your model call different? I don't fucking know. You think I've bought everybody's model call? All I know is that I make good money off of it, and I've never seen anybody do theirs like mine. I see a lot of people talk about model calls, and nobody runs theirs like mine. And I have 3 different kinds. Three of them, not just one. So that's why I'm just being cocky. I fucking love that guide. When I first started writing it, I was like, oh, I don't know. This is gonna be enough. And now I'm like, fuck yeah, that's a good ass guide. It's a good ass guide. It's a fucking deal. Considering the contract for the brand ambassador guide was almost $4,000. So in other words, if you went to have a contract made, which I have so much verbatim in there, so much things to make sure you're not getting fucked over, so many steps to put into place. They're like, good luck, you ain't gonna get it. Sit down and write a guide, and you'll be like, oh man, I'll pay all these people, because fuck this. Because it's not even the guide that's hard. It's the fact that it took me 15 years to figure out the right way to do something. It took me a countless amount of time and energy and money. I'm not trying to go on a tangent of selling my guides. I mean, if you want to get them, you totally can. But I just think that that's a big part. People want to make all this money, but they don't want to make any fucking investments. That's not how it works. This is one of the lowest investments. You find me any other business where you can take like $5,000 and pretty well be ready to go. I mean, you can get the basics for that. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? It's just crazy. As a person who's done this for many years, and you'll start seeing people who've done this for a while complain on the same thing, it is horrible. So, okay, let me back up. My biggest money block, the way I got over it, was the fact that I put in a fuck ton of work to my clients. I give them a deal. They can come in, $5,500 is my average. Well, actually, it's a little higher than that, but that's my lowest package that they're going to get in, okay? So it sounds like a lot until you start breaking down all the fucking shit that went into it, right? Like all of it, like all the practice I do, all the education I invest in, all of the fucking, the like endless nights of shoot after shoot and trying this and working on that and sharpening my skills and everything else and paying taxes and all the overhead and all that. Like, I tell people when somebody goes, how much is it? And I'm like, our shoots start at $5,500 and go up from there depending on what you want. And they say, oh, and I say, I know, it is a deal, isn't it? Because like I don't have I remember thinking 2,500 was a lot of money. And like now I get pissed off, which I shouldn't. I should be very grateful because 2,500 is a great amount to make. But knowing how much work I've put in, like it's easy. It's easy to charge money when you put the work in, because then you are like, look, you're getting a fucking deal. So if you don't feel like what you're providing is to that level, then you need to figure out how to provide the level where you feel like you can receive money. And I'll tell you, there are some people who have very low skills and they're really good at marketing, and there's people who have really high skills and they're bad at marketing, and there's people who will ask on threads, how much do I charge? Well, nobody can tell you that. What is your overhead? What is your cost? Who are you what's your insurance going to be? Are you providing for your family? Are you going to have employees? Here's my best advice if you're starting out. Build a portfolio first, okay? Get some education material. Fucking just dive into it and just rub it on your fucking body and practice and do all that good stuff, okay? Launch a model call, all right? But you want to come out the gates at a higher level. If you come out the gates low because your skill's low, then as soon as you increase your level of skill, you'll have to redo everything you've done. That's just the simple fact. The people who are going to be your supporters at $200 a shoot are not going to be your supporters at $2,500 a shoot. It's just a good, cold, hard fact. My whole group, it took me forever to get anybody in there that is on that higher level, that $5,000. And realistically, they're not really in the group. Those people are stumbling across the website most of the time. So my advice, get some education, get some fucking solid practice to where you feel good and you're getting consistent work. Everybody can take a good picture. A fucking broken clock is right twice a day, right? Consistency is where it's at. You need to be able to go into a situation and know how to handle it and know what's going on. And when you get like that, you get a confidence about yourself because you know how much work you've put into it. You know that you've just spent countless times. You might not be the greatest. You know that you have work to do, right? But you're like, I am doing everything and I feel like I'm putting all this energy into it. And then when you expel that much energy, you're going to want it back. There was somebody who said, well, I only charge $250 a shoot and I don't want to charge less because I like being busy. I'm like, you just wait. Come back at me in about 6 months. I guarantee you're going to be fucking out of business. You ain't going to want to do it no more. It's just how it is. Look at my instance. For instance, next year I'm not taking more than 40 clients. And I'll be real honest, at this point in the road, I'm actually thinking about taking only 20 and making them be $8,000 clients and up. I know it sounds crazy, but I've already booked a few and now I'm like, I think I would rather do that. And here's why. Every time I work, every time I go out and I take pictures and I sit at the computer, I am literally giving a person a part of my life that I will never get back. I will never get the joint problems I now have back. Like, see this? This is from cameras. I'll never get that back. I'll never be pain-free in my neck from sitting and editing for hours and hours and hours. I'll never be able to fucking kneel down without knee pads, for the love of God. So people who shoot with me understand that I'm putting all of my energy and I'm literally giving them a little piece of my life I'm never going to get back. And that shit is not cheap, guys. Like I said, money is not a thing. Energy is a thing. If I'm putting out all of this energy, I expect it back. So a lot of times money blocks come from people not putting in the amount of work they need to. Like, you know you're a fraud, right? If you don't have any fucking shoots under your belt and you go try to charge people, that's fucking rude. You've never took a picture of a naked person and you want them to pay you. No, put the work in. Stop being fucking lazy. Come on. I still shoot for free. If I want to practice, I'll just grab somebody and be like, hey, come here, let me shoot you. I'm not trying to sell. I'm trying to keep my skills sharpened because I know that's going to make me stand out. All right. If you feel like you have a money block, then you need to start sitting down and reframing how you think of things. Oh, well, that's just clicking a button. Bull fucking shit. It is not just clicking a button. It is so much involved in this business that my average client for a $5,500 shoot is 55 hours. 55 fucking hours. So it breaks down to about $100 an hour before tax. I am cheap. And that is the attitude I have when I talk to my clients on phone consults. I don't get discouraged. I don't give a shit. Some people don't see the value in it. Cool, whatever. Not my clients. Bye. Got plenty. I had somebody spend 10 grand. She told me how much of a bargain it was. And this is what I mean. Like, you start putting that out, like, I am literally ripping a piece of my fucking soul and giving it to you. I'm not half-assing it. I'm not like this. I'm giving you art, my soul. I feel very good about receiving back, because when I receive back, that means I can invest it and I can make beautiful things like this that make me excited to shoot and take clients, and my clients love it, and then I can give more people a little piece of me, right? If I don't have money, I'm gonna be burnt out, I'm gonna be resentful, and I'm gonna fucking hate it. And that's stupid. You shouldn't do that. You're doing a disservice to your clients if you're burning yourself out. And when you first start, you're gonna be like, oh, this is so much fun, it's so cool, look at me, I'm living like this rock star life. And fucking 6 months in, when you're paying back taxes because you didn't know what they were, and you have all these overhead expenses, and you got fucking 17 people who haven't paid you because you didn't know that you should have a payment contract, because of course they're going to pay you. Saying, you guys, if you're new, this is a rough industry. It is. I know it sounds funny. I mean, by no means is it like living on an oil rig or anything, but there's a lot of physical things that you're giving up. There's a lot of time that you're giving up. You're speaking the whole last year of my life before I changed everything. Yeah. A lot of us have been there, and it's a lot. It's a lot. I come from a place where I feel like I have a lower value, or I did. I don't feel that way so much anymore. As somebody who's dyslexic and has ADD and was diagnosed bipolar, although I don't really 100% agree with that one. Who has chronic pain, I went to college. I went for genetic engineering. I mean, plot twist, right? And I dropped out because it just didn't feel like, it was just kind of like when the photography thing was a common thread that kept running through my life. And I'm so glad I stuck with it, because I absolutely love it. But at the same time, I do realize that it has a limited time frame for me. In other words, my body is going to run out at some point, and I want to be able to do something else. So that's why I've kind of branched off into this way, because then I can still, help people, and maybe I don't have to be quite as physical. Rewinding some. Visualize, okay? You want to know exactly what you want, be specific about it. You need to sit down. This is a fun exercise. Fire up a fucking spliff if you're a smoker like I am, a vapor. I don't smoke. I think that being grateful is good, and we can pretend, but we have to really mean it. I always tell myself, if I'm in pain, I'm like, you know what? I'm in pain, but I'm still able to function. I have a medical marijuana card, so I'm able to get some relief occasionally. I have a husband that loves me. I can stretch. I can relate more to people, because, I'll tell you what, if you want your ego to collapse, have a major thing. And I'm sure if you're anybody who's been through any kind of life altering thing, it collapses your ego, and your ego is what's holding you back for everything. Ego is everything. Ego is just this little insecure fucking piece of shit that just is always, and once you could break away from ego and start kind of reframing your mind. So for instance, if you ran a model call and you got 5 applicants. Some people will go, I ran a model call and I only got 5 applicants. So now they're going in with the mindset that it sucks that they only got 5. They're coming from a place of scarcity, right? Well, I'm not going to make sales. What if they don't want anything? So they just fucking stop trying. They've already assumed in their brain that they failed, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, instead, if you get 5 and you go, holy shit, I have 5 opportunities to make a sale. I got 5 already. That means I'm going to get all this content for my website. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. It's going to be so much fun. And if I make money, cool. And if I don't, cool. I'm happy either way. The only way you can really open yourself to abundance is to really truly be grateful for what you have. And I mean that, down to your core. That's another thing I have, and that is write a gratitude journal, because we get so hung up on the bad stuff that we fail to miss all this good stuff until it's way too fucking late. I could get hung up on the fact that I have pain, but I also know that there may be a time in my life where I get a back fusion. I won't be able to do the things I can do still. There's people who can't walk, and I'm not saying that I'm grateful that I don't have as bad as them, but I'm grateful that I have what I have, because it's made me who I am, and I can move forward from that. The pandemic, I could have looked at it bad. I mean, shit, I had a 7 or 8 of the months basically in lockdown here. And I mean, it was fucking awful, right? And I could have, I had people missing payments on their prepayments, and I have all types of stuff. And I just kept telling myself, I'm like, you know what, Elena, you get to take time to relax. You always feel like you're doing too much. You're just going to chill. You're going to chill. Everything will be fine. You know what? All those people fucking ended up paying me. In fact, I just had a huge amount of people who in the last, I think it was January, that reached out to me and were like, oh, hey, I just want to pay in full. I want to pay in full. Oh, fuck, okay, there's a whole bunch of money I didn't know I was going to get. And it was because I was nice. I'm not going to be a bitch to people. Okay, you lost your job and you can't make prepayments. Okay, when you can, hit me back. You got to give some slack. You got to know that you're going to get the outcome that you have. Be grateful that you have people that owe you fucking money, right? Because you never know when that's going to pop up. that was a pleasant surprise. I think I had like, that was 10 or 15 grand last month just from people going, hey, I'm ready to pay some more stuff. I had a person who did a model call, and this was before I was smart and I ran it like everybody else does. And she came in and I spent 6 hours getting some of the best pictures of at that time that I had ever taken. She came in for a reveal. She loved them. She put down, or she wanted to do a $5,000 package. And this was when I was a little bit newer, and $5,000 packages weren't like a thing for me. I was doing like, $3,000. And she put down her 25% deposit, and then I didn't hear from her for months. And then she finally reached out to me, and I tell them like, hey, if you don't make your payments, I delete your shit. And she's like, I know you deleted my shit. And then she kind of went into like what was going on, and there was some stuff that was going on. And I told her, I said, look, I didn't delete anything. I was like, I kept it and I backed it up, but I need to know, like, if you're not going to get it, that's fine, but I'm wasting my money backing your shit up. And she said, can you hold it for me? And like, realistically, I'm not really wasting money. I already paid to have everything backed up. One more fucking session is nothing to me. But I tell people that because I don't want them to walk all over me. And it was 2 years. And like, I don't care. I took 25% of her money. Cool. And I couldn't force her to pay me. I'm not going to take her to court because I don't really give a shit. And that was somebody who reached out in the middle of the pandemic and paid me in full. And it helped me get by a couple months. So it's just shit like that. You never know. But if you come from a place of lack where you're like, all these things that are bad are bad, they're going to be bad. You have to start figuring out what's good. The first time I ever had this encounter, I was young. I was like 20 or 21. And I went down to see my husband, my past ex-husband, down in basic training. And I got a brand new car to drive down there, and I had it for about 2 days, and I got hit by a deer. The deer literally hit me. I was driving down the road and it ran into the side of my car and crunched the whole side of it and even kicked out like the back tail. I was supposed to leave to go to my ex's graduation in like, I think it was like 2 or 3 days. So longest story short, I took it to the body shop. They actually expedited it for me. It wasn't supposed to be ready till like a Wednesday, but I wanted to leave on Tuesday, so I was going to leave a day late. And they called me the day I was supposed to leave at like 10 in the morning. And they're like, hey, your car is ready early. So instead of it being ready on that Wednesday, like they said, they actually finished it the day I wanted to leave. But so I didn't sleep. I went out and partied the night before like a fucking moron. And I had literally no sleep. So my dumb ass gets in the car and drives from here, which is basically St. Louis, down to Texas by myself. And I fell asleep at the wheel about, I don't know, a couple times, just kind of in and out when I was on the highway. And I pulled over to take a nap in a parking lot, like in a hotel parking lot, because that's like what people did back then. And cause I just needed like, an hour or two. And when I went to that parking lot, I ran over a giant like screw head that had broken, like a fucking big ass screw head. And it was later, there was no shops open, so it forced me to get a hotel. Actually, no, I put a donut on. And you're not supposed to drive on those donuts over 50. So I drove for a little bit, and then I called my ex and I told him what was going on. And he's like, you need to stay at a hotel. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I stayed at a hotel. Now again, here I am pissed off again because I wanted to be down there that day, but the universe kept telling me it just wasn't the day I was supposed to go down there. It tried to stop with the deer. It tried to stop me again with the fucking tire issue. And it makes me wonder, like, what would have happened if I kept driving? What would have happened if I actually was at the place that I thought I should be? So looking at that, I'm like, I think that it was kind of like the universe looking out for me. And you could call whatever you want, guardian angel, the computer program thinks that we're living in a computer program. Nobody. I swear I'm not a crazy person. It just, like I said, I think it's more complicated than that, but I think that's about the way that we could probably, understand it. The best way to break down, kind of like, an ant describing the sun. They don't fucking know. You don't know what you don't know, right? So I hope that gives you guys some insights on how to manifest. So visualize, be specific. I want you to sit down, you do the exercises in that guide because like they're fun. Grab a fucking spliff, whatever. Don't grab anything. And just relax, close your eyes, and just start seeing everything from your normal. Don't like look at yourself from a third person perspective. Look at where you're at through your own eyes and start like looking around and like what are you doing? What time do you want to wake up? What kind of foods do you want to eat? What kind of life do you want to live? And start really drilling it down. And you may not know at first. Like I'm still at the point where I don't like 100% know anymore. But start visualizing that, and again, be very specific and really start figuring out where you want to go. How are you going to get there if you don't know what your destination is? is. I hope that you guys took some stuff away from that. Like I said, everything is going to be in that guide for you anyway. And of course, we could do some threads on like the best manifestation books that we like. I definitely recommend everybody read The Secret. But this is my giving back to you guys. And I'm hoping that it kind of sparks you on some ideas and maybe some different perspectives and some different stuff you can do to start becoming that person you want to be. And the best way I could tell you is don't worry on how you're going to get there. Just start showing up every day to what you think the person that you want to be is. So if you want to be something, you just start living that way. And like, I'm going to hark back to like the fitness example where I was talking about, getting weight off of my joints for my pain. I may not know exactly everything, like I said, but every day I try to make little decisions. Maybe I talk to people and I just start showing up, and I don't worry about if I'm going to lose weight or if this is going to help or how much this is that. I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about every day I'm doing my best to just show up as the person I already want to be. Because when you start living that way, your life will just become that. It might take a while to transition while you're getting used to being on the same vibration, but it will happen. You will do it. It will just be like, boop. And like, it's so exciting because I'm sitting there, I'm like, what do I want to manifest next? Because I don't know yet. I don't know if I want to travel or I don't know what direction I want to go just right now. So I'm kind of just letting the universe decide for me. And that's kind of fun too, because that's a hard thing for a person with a type A personality who wants to control everything and has huge amounts of anxiety over the unknown. Just being like living in the present every day instead of worrying about the past or worrying about the future. You're literally just focused on what's in front of you right now, and you're being grateful for it. And you're like, you know what, if nothing else changes, this is cool. I like this. But you know what, I'm going to put the effort in and I see myself elevating to this level. And that's what's going to happen. You're just going to start clicking up. And the more you do it, the better it gets. And it's so fun. And then you get your husband who's all crazy. He's like, all right, let's talk about these weird conspiracy theories. It's like a stoner thing where you just talk about weird shit. You're like, all right, man, what if we're living in a system? What if what if we're all just computer programs? And I'm like, what if the virus is just an update and some people aren't compatible? It's just fun to think of things, because the reality is like life is way weirder than we could probably ever imagine anyway. So what's the harm in giving yourself and reprogramming your subconscious mind to have a different perspective, so that when you come across those decisions that you're actually not really a part of, that you're going and you're clicking toward the direction that you want to be, and you're going to build these point A, point B's, because you'll look back, and you could do this right now. Start looking back at every part of your life and go, where would I be if this happened? What happened to put me here? Like, for instance, I had a friend who got me a job at a photography studio. I wasn't particularly into photography. I just needed a job. And she's like, hey, here's a cool job. I'm like, all right. And I went there, and then I learned a little bit about, composition and some other stuff that I didn't know as a hobbyist. And then it kind of sparked my interest in that. And then it's just these things, like if I hadn't met my ex-husband, I would have never met my future husband. You start looking back and you realize that even the big things in the life that you thought were bad, it just led you to a different place that you're supposed to be. You just can't see the big picture yet. And really, manifestation is understanding that your subconscious knows way better than you do. And you got to just trust that you can sit there and tell yourself these things, right? And that you can start seeing them manifest in reality. And you may not understand how they're going to manifest or what they do, but it will definitely happen. You just have to sit there and you have to really believe it. And I think once you have it happen a few times, it's really hard not to. You're like, fuck, okay, there's really something behind this. I was going to say there was something I read about practical thinking. Is it practical thinking? This is another technique that I'm studying. It's how to look at problems. We think by analogy. So in other words, we give examples of one thing to compare them to another, and that's how we decide to do the thing. We base it on what other people have done and the knowledge we already know, and practical thinking strips that back to the very bare minimum. So like if, for instance, of a practical thinking would be, I can't book a session, okay? Why can't I book a session? So and you start doing 5 whys. Why can't I book a session? Because nobody wants to pay for the work I do. They think I'm expensive. Why do they think you're expensive? Well, maybe they don't understand what I'm doing. Why don't they understand what you're doing or the effort you put into it? Well, I'm not really showcasing any of my work. I'm not putting any effort into this website. I'm not showing the process. Oh, okay, so now we're starting to get somewhere, right? Okay, so how could you do that? Well, I can start doing more of this and more of that. So start asking yourself when you have problems, start breaking it down to whys and start thinking of positive ways that you can answer the questions instead of getting hung up on the, I can't book people. Well, with that attitude, you're never gonna fucking book anyone, guys. So you really gotta make sure that that's a thing, right? But anyway, maybe I'll do a live on the NL, Neuro Linguistics Programming and Practical Thinking. I'm like a fucking huge book nerd. I don't know if anybody knows this about me, and I don't tell a lot of people about that, but I am just fascinated with that kind of shit because it's all so weird. We don't understand anything about consciousness or the brain or like what we are. What are we? Are we just fucking meat suits, as my husband likes to call us, meat suits? I mean, what if we wake up and this is all just a dream? Think about it. And so what you could kind of become alert that, like, in the grand scheme of things, whether you make a mistake or whether you do whatever it is that you do, it doesn't matter. And once you understand that it doesn't matter, it's a lot easier to put yourself out there. So, and I mean that in the best way. When you look at the grand scale of the cosmics, like human race in the billions of years that the galaxy or the universe has been around is like, it's not even a blink. If you blinked, you missed it. So that means if somebody did something bad, in the grand scheme of things, it's this tiny time in history that basically never happened. So it's terrifying in some aspects, but in the other way, you could be like, you know, actually, yeah, what do I have to lose? Stop living so safe. You know, there's safe ways to do things. You can ask people, mentor. You can get advice from people who are doing the thing that you want to do. If you want to make $350,000 a year, ask somebody who's making $350,000 a year what they're doing. If you want to be somebody who is doing a thing, find the person doing that thing and start picking the fuck out of their brain. You know? That's all it is. And don't expect those people to just give you energy for no reason, because remember, energy out, you can drain and then you get resentful and then you got to get that energy back in. So when you learn something, you can pass it on. It's one of the reasons, again, I want to do this because I feel like somebody took the time to educate me on manifestation a little bit. And I want to take the time to educate you guys. That's probably why she put the post out in the first place, because once you start understanding that, like, it's karma, right? And sometimes bad people do bad shit. And you know what? I've gotten to the point where I'm okay with that. If they want to be shitty people, it's fine. I'm still going to be a nice person. I don't care. It's them, not me. Start practicing all of the stuff that's in there and let me know how it goes. I would love to see. I want to check back in like a month and see where you guys are up to, and if anybody has had any weird manifestation things happen or any weird synchronicities. And if you don't know what synchronicities are, start reading them. Start looking into numerologies and meanings, and like when you start looking for things in the universe, you start finding them. It's so fucking weird. It's so weird. You ever notice you start thinking about it, you start seeing it? You're just opening yourself to that. That's it. Because your subconscious assumed that's what you want to focus on. So if you're focusing on being broke, your subconscious doesn't have good or bad. It doesn't care. It just knows that you keep thinking about it and it's going to give it to you in one way or the other because you didn't tell it what you need. Well, I love you guys. I hope that helped. And you guys just keep doing what you're doing. Keep putting out good energy. And if all else fails and you don't know anything else to do, just every day, wake up, think of the thing that you want and do a thing. Do a thing that helps you get toward there, even if it's a tiny thing, because eventually you'll learn and you'll compound and it'll just keep building up.